All right, so looking at page 2, looks like we got number 8, which was from the first page. So we're still determining the degree of the polynomial. And again, the degree of the polynomial is just our biggest exponent, which happens to be 2. All right, part 3. Now we're going to add and subtract monomials. So for the first one, as long as our variable and exponents are the same, we can combine the coefficients, right? So this is just basically saying 7 minus 3, which is going to give us 4. And then we just leave the variable and exponent the same. All right, so for question 10, again, we can only combine like terms. So 5y squared is not the same as 8y because the y is not squared. So we can only combine 5y squared with the negative 2y squared, which gives us 3y squared. And then we don't touch the positive 8y. All right, so when we start getting to these polynomials and we're adding and subtracting, it's best that when you get these, for the first one, you just rewrite it. All right, so we get 4x squared plus 3x minus 5. And then for the second one, right, whatever this sign is and whatever this number may or may not be, it just needs to distribute to everything. Okay, so since this is a positive, this second trinomial is just going to be rewritten the same. So it's plus 2x squared minus x plus 7. All right, so now we want to combine like terms. So I can only combine this 4x squared if another term in this polynomial is x squared, and I see positive 2x squared. So if you want, you can rewrite that. 4x squared plus 2x squared. And then I see a positive 3x and a negative x. So plus 3x minus x. Where did 8 come from? Minus x. And then lastly, I have a negative 5 and a plus 7. And notice how I'm putting different shapes around each different term. That's just in case, how I just started to write 8. If I got to come back and look at it, at least this can be a real quick reference on what I'm combining with what. So negative 5 plus 7, right? So now, and notice I'm also putting this in descending order by the highest exponent. All right, so now I could just combine my likes. Both of them signs are positive, so I get 6x squared, a positive and the negative, so I'm going to subtract, keep the sign of the biggest term, right? And again, a positive and a negative, so I'm going to subtract the biggest from the smallest, keep the sign of the biggest term, and I will be done, right? So our final solution is 6x squared plus 2x plus 2. All right, question 12. The same as question 11. All right, we're going to rewrite this first. 6a cubed plus 9 minus 2a. And now I have a negative sign. So negative sign is, is vastly different than a positive. Positive sign, I just rewrite whatever is in the parentheses. When it's a negative sign, you're basically going to multiply everything by a negative 1 if there's no other number after the negative sign. So all of my signs will just become opposite. So a negative times a negative becomes a positive 3. A negative times a positive becomes a negative a. And a negative times a negative becomes a positive 4a cubed, right? And again, I'm going to say positive 4a cubed plus 6a cubed is going to give me 10a cubed. And then I'm going to go to my negative 2a, and my negative 1a is going to give me a negative 3a. And then lastly, I have a plus 9 and a plus 3, which gives me plus 12. All right, and so that would be our final answer. All right, so 13 and 14, now we're going to start evaluating, just meaning we're going to plug in values for the variables. And so again, what I always suggest is just rewrite this with the substituting value into the expression. so that you can see what's going on before you go to start trying to do this. Right? And so 2 cubed, so that means it's not 6, right? That's a common mistake. People just say, oh, 2 times the exponent. No, the exponent means take that base value and multiply it to itself that many times. So 2 times 2 times 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is going to give you 8, right? So you're going to get 2 times 8 minus 4 plus 8 minus 6. 2 times 8 is 16, minus 4 is 12, plus 8 is 20, minus 6 gives you 14, right? And you can also put this in your calculator, okay? But you want to put in exactly how it's given to you. So you want to say 2 parentheses 2, and we're going to raise that. So this is my caret key to get to your exponents. Raise it to the third, then you got to make sure you arrow down so that you're no longer in the exponent. Because if I start typing right now, if I say minus, it's going to put it in the exponent. Okay, so you want to make sure that you get out from the exponent and say minus parentheses 2. And then when I just want to square, your x squared button is there. And you notice it automatically drops you back down. And then plus 4 times 2. And then minus 6. Right? And you get the same solution, 14. All right, so negative 1 for y when we have y to the 4th power minus 3y squared plus 5. So we get negative 1 to the 4th minus 3 times negative 1 squared plus 5. Okay, it's super important that you understand the importance of parentheses, right? By putting these in parentheses, okay, when I raise a negative number to a even power, it's always going to be positive. All right, super important. Okay, if it's to an odd, it doesn't matter. It's going to be negative regardless. But when it's to an even, if you don't have parentheses, negative 1 to the 4th power is going to be negative 1. But because it's in parentheses, negative 1 in parentheses to the 4th power is positive 1. Right? So again, this becomes negative 3 times positive 1 plus 5. So now you really have 1 minus 3 plus 5, which is just going to be 3. Okay, so again, if you don't use exponents and your negative button is below your 3, not the subtraction button. So if I say negative 1, and I'm going to raise that to the 4th, and I'm going to say minus 3 times, let's just put it in like this, negative 1, and that's squared, plus 5, right? It's going to give you something crazy. Okay, so you got to make sure you're using parentheses when you go to insert that value for the exponent so that we can get this correct. Okay, and I mean, of course you should be, oh, I forgot to square this. Of course you should be trying to be quick. Of course you should be first trying this by pen and paper before just, immediately just using the calculator to evaluate these, just to make sure you are in something. Oh, because it put this double parenthesis. I'm happy you guys are seeing my hiccups so that you can understand, these graphing calculators are super powerful. Oh, you know why? Because it's supposed to be minus 3, not times 3. But so that you can see, man, mistakes happen when you're not like paying attention and making sure you're catching everything. And plus, it's just always good to just double check your work so that you can see what is going on. Okay. But again, when you are evaluating the polynomials, you just plug in those values by using parentheses because the parentheses are super important. All right. So again, if you have made a mistake on there, hopefully you see how you made your mistake. And now you're able to catch that moving forward.